The nurse handed her a wooden box. "I was told to give this to you when he was gone." Rania stared at it, confused, trembling. She had only known him for 27 minutes. Just 2 days earlier, she was sitting alone in the hospital waiting room when an elderly man, fragile, oxygen tank hissing, asked if he could sit beside her. He was dying, and scared to go alone. So she held his hand, listened to his story, and never expected to see anyone from his life again. Until they showed up. "Hey everyone, welcome to Legacy Tales. Let's begin." Rania had only gone to the hospital to visit a colleague. She wasn't supposed to stay long, just drop off some food and head home. But the elevators were full. So she waited. Alone. On a bench near the emergency wing. That's when he came around the corner. Thin, pale, shaky hands gripping his walker, nurse guiding him slowly. He looked at her. "Mind if I sit?" he asked. "Of course not," she said, scooting aside. He took a breath. "Name's Harry. They say I might not see tomorrow." Rania blinked, wasn't sure what to say. But then he smiled and added, "You don't look scared of that." She wasn't, not of him. So she stayed. They talked for 27 minutes, about love, regret, about his wife who passed 10 years ago and how he still felt married. She listened, nodded, asked questions. At one point he closed his eyes and whispered, "Thanks for making me feel human again. It's been a while." A nurse came, called his name. He stood up slowly, looked back once and said, "If no one shows up for me, thank you for sitting with me anyway." And just like that, he was gone. Absolutely. Here's an expanded and more detailed part 2 of the story. Let's deepen the emotional weight, stretch the suspense, and heighten the mystery as you requested. Rania didn't think much of it afterward. She went home, made dinner, folded laundry. But Harry stayed in the back of her mind. The way he gripped her hand at one point, not for balance, but for connection. The way his eyes sparkled when he spoke about his wife's garden. The way he seemed ready, not to die, but to be remembered by someone. Anyone. She didn't know if he had family, didn't know if he even made it through the night. But 2 days later, she got a call from the hospital. "Miss Rania Saeed?" the woman on the line asked. "Yes?" "I'm calling on behalf of a patient who passed this morning. His name was Harold Bennett. You met him recently?" Rania stood up slowly. "Yes, I did. Only briefly." "Well, his family came. Late, but they came. And he left something for you." "For me?" she asked, stunned. "But why?" "His family insisted. They'll be at the hospital tomorrow. They've asked to meet you." She didn't sleep that night. The next morning she walked back into the same hospital wing, same hallway, same bench. And there they were. A woman in her 40s, red eyes, but kind. A man beside her, older, likely Harry's son. And between them, a small girl holding a wrapped wooden box against her chest. "You must be Rania," the woman said softly. Rania nodded. "I'm Alice, Harry's granddaughter. This is Michael, his son. And this little one's Ivy. She wanted to give you this herself." The girl stepped forward and raised the box. Rania hesitated. Her fingers shook as she took it. Before she could open it, Alice placed a hand on her arm and said, "We were late. Stuck in another state. Dad passed before we got here. But the nurse said, he didn't go alone." Rania swallowed hard. "We were told you sat with him, that you held his hand?" Rania nodded. Her throat was too tight for words. "He wasn't afraid of death," Alice continued, "but he was afraid of being forgotten. He always said, 'I just hope someone sees me before I go.'" Then she looked at the box and added, "He said you saw him. That matters to us more than you'll ever know." Rania opened the box with trembling hands. Inside was a delicate gold locket, simple, elegant, engraved on the front. 27 minutes. Forever remembered, and beneath it, a folded handwritten note in shaky ink. To the stranger who gave me the most human goodbye. You sat beside me when I had nothing left but breath, and that breath, shared with someone kind, made me feel full again. If my family ever finds this, tell them I wasn't alone. Tell them someone cared. Rania wiped her eyes, silently holding the box close to her chest. Days passed, but the weight of that small box stayed with her, not heavy in her hands, but in her heart. It sat on her nightstand now, beside a photo of her late grandfather. Every morning Rania would glance at it and whisper, "You weren't forgotten, Harry." But the story wasn't done. 1 week later, her doorbell rang. On the porch stood Michael and Alice, Harry's son and granddaughter, holding a large manila envelope. "We know this is unexpected," Michael said, "but we wanted to honor what you did, in our own way." He handed her the envelope. Inside, a deed to a small lakeside cabin just outside the city. "It was Dad's," Alice explained, "his favorite place on earth. He always said if he met someone truly kind in his final days, he'd give them what meant the most to him." Rania was stunned. I can't accept this. I didn't do anything." Michael looked her in the eye. "You did everything," he continued. "You gave a dying man what no medicine, no machine, no amount of money could, peace." They stayed for tea, shared stories, laughed about how Harry used to sneak cookies into Ivy's backpack, talked about the garden he always meant to finish by the cabin. And before they left, Alice said something that stuck with her forever. "He left you that place not just to remember him, but to remind yourself that 27 minutes can echo for generations." That summer, Rania visited the cabin. It was quiet, wrapped in trees, and right outside the porch, a patch of earth, freshly cleared. She planted wildflowers, lavender, marigolds, and daisies, not for beauty, but for memory. She named it the 27 Garden. And on a small wooden sign at the gate, she painted the words, "Kindness doesn't need time, just attention."